Things you should know by the end of this video. The learning targets. Define fascism and describe its characteristics. Explain how nationalism and ideology played a significant role in shaping the policies of fascist countries. Explain the ideological drive for the Holocaust.
Bison?
Bye, Dad.
No type of government is more discredited and repulsive than fascism. None are more un-American. How do I know? Because this guy, Captain America, the most patriotic of superheroes, #1 enemy, fascism. Why do we spread chemical fertilizer on our fields instead of fascism?
No, the stuff we spread on the fields is feces. Fascism is when you tell something that's not true.
No, that's falsehood. Fascism is a noxious smell that results from microscopic organisms multiplying in your digestive system.
Negatory. The word you're looking for is flatulence. Fascism is when a bunch of people from one country invade another country.
I think you all talking about the tourism. Fascism is when people sell their souls to an evil being.
You're all talking about Satanism. Fascism is a political movement that promotes an extreme form of nationalism, a denial of individual rights, and a dictatorial one-party rule.
The Global History Show with Mr. Benjamin. This episode, what is fascism?
It's a Global History Show.
Fascism is a political ideology that developed after World War I. Fascio means group. A fasces was a bundle of rods around an axe, which was a symbol from classical Rome. Mussolini's fascist party in Italy used the fasces as their symbol, emphasizing that the group is stronger than the individual. Fascism is a political movement that promotes strict obedience to the government, an extreme form of nationalism, a dictatorial one-party rule, and a denial of individual rights. Fascism was first implemented by Benito Mussolini in Italy, and then by Adolf Hitler in Germany. Other leaders to create fascist governments to varying degrees are Francisco Marcos of Spain, Suharto of Indonesia, Juan Perón of Argentina, and Salvador Allende of Chile. Sort of a legion of doom of political leaders. Yeah, I know I'm mixing my Marvel universe and my DC and my metaphors, and with great power comes great responsibility. Fascism is authoritarian, ultranationalist, anti-democratic, and places the good of the nation over the rights of the individual. Let's look at the individual parts of the definition to elucidate, or to make more clear. Fascism is authoritarian. Authoritarian means favoring or enforcing strict obedience to authority, the government, at the expense of personal freedom. The fascist ideology calls for the nation's fate to be placed in the hands of one strong leader. Der Führer, Adolf Hitler, or El Duce, Benito Mussolini. This leader promises simple solutions to the country's complex problems. The leader's given dictatorial power, including control over the military. Who's Kyle? What can I see him? And could he fly? Dopey feller, what are you talking about? Everyone here in Nazi Germany is always pointing in the sky behind that Hitler feller and telling me Kyle's there. They say, see Kyle, see Kyle. Fascism is ultranationalist. Ultranationalist means radical loyalty and devotion to a nation, or extreme nationalism. The strength of the nation is put before the well-being of the individual. There is no regard for human rights. Individuals are only valued by what they can contribute to the country. This ultranationalism is framed as an us versus them identity. The national group, often an ethno-national group, is exalted for their greatness. Hitler described the Nazi leader described the German people as an Aryan super race, destined to rule over all others. He described the Aryan super race as taking its proper place, ruling over the inferior people. Hitler proposed that the German people were victims, that they had once been great and had been treated unfairly. He promoted the conspiracy theory that Germany was winning World War I and was betrayed by traitors who needlessly surrendered to the Allies. Hitler described Lebensraum, or living space. Germany was to take over Poland and Russia, people who are inferior and only worthy to work as slaves for the Germans. This ultranationalism also creates an enemy that is blamed for all of the nation's problems. This is known as scapegoating. Jews, Roma, homosexuals, Marxists, Jehovah's Witnesses, and those who are labeled as weak, physically, mentally, or morally, are said to be undermining the nation from rising to the level of its greatness. This inferiority of identified groups is used to justify the identification, dehumanization, discrimination, dispossession of rights and property, isolation, expulsion, and murder of the people in these groups. Two examples are Kristallnacht, a period of government-sanctioned violence and destruction of Jewish people in their community, and then the Holocaust.
I will save the country from fascism. Aluminum Man, foiled again.
Fascism is anti-democratic. Fascism developed as an alternative to democratic forms of government and in opposition to communism. Partly due to the Great Depression, many lost faith in democratic institutions. Fascists often come to power by manipulating the democratic institutions, but they then destroy those institutions once in power. Fascism does not compromise. Fascist ideology is one of complete loyalty to the leader. To compromise with other political parties is treasonous.
How can you tell if a student has a question in Nazi youth school?
What?
You know.
Actually, there are no questions allowed at Nazi youth school.
Hitler was appointed chancellor by the leader of the party that won the greatest number of votes in an election. The leader of the party hoped they could add Hitler's Nazis, National Socialist Workers' Party members, to the ranks of their supporters. Hitler then banned opposition parties, like the Communist Party. Hitler never wins an election while other parties are allowed. When the president, World War I war hero von Hindenburg, died, Hitler became president and chancellor under a new title, Der Führer. Fascism places the good of the nation over the rights of the individual. Adolf Hitler's Nazi party euthanized, that means killed, people in mental institutions and people with physical disabilities. When people who were members of some groups went to the hospital for medical treatment, they were sterilized, deprived of their ability to have babies. And of course, all of the stages of the Holocaust are examples of Nazis' implementation of the national interest coming before the rights of the individual. So, to summarize, fascism is a political ideology that promotes strict obedience to the government, an extreme form of nationalism, a dictatorial one-party rule, and a denial of individual rights. Whenever we see calls for a combination of these traits, we should be resistant to those calling for their implementation. Fascism has never resulted in the needs of the people actually being met, and has always been harmful to the people.
Fascism is as fascism does.
Fascists oftentimes try to crush those who advocate for knowledge and truth, like banning and burning books. Knowledge is power.
That is right. Book burnings and producers of educational videos.
It's a